Guys, how are you? I hope everyone's having a good Saturday. Oh, geez, y'all came in at 7:30. Oh, wait. For playback purposes, 1, thank you for rewatching. 2, if you liked it, hit the subscribe button. There we go. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. You darling, wonderful people. Smitten Kitten. We're reading Spare by Prince Harry. Jesus Christ. Let's get this over with. I'm sick of talking about Dorothy Kilgallen. I don't want to talk about her anymore. I don't. I probably should have moved this back to 9. That might have made it better. So, whatever. Hey, Mama Zita, what are you doing? What are you doing? Thank you for showing me some love. I need it. I need it today. My goodness. I think it's funny how if you're not talking about gossip and if you're not talking about dragging nobody and shit, hey P.I., that hey Earth, when you're not talking about dragging people or bullshit, that people are like, twing, go, go. But here's what happens. If you keep doing what you like, people will show up. And I like this stuff. So yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Miss Uber does not feel well, so she'll be here in spirit, but not in body. So everybody send some good thoughts to Uber. I can't wait. Well, I never throw away notes, but I can't wait to put the notes in this folder and put them in this drawer and not talk about them ever. Crazy nurse, hello love. And not talk about them ever again. I don't want to. I'm done. This is my last show. It's true. Oh yeah, but if you get one good fight going, you go doink right over there. You be 5,000. It's Christy. I am. I'm tired. I'm just really tired. I am so tired. So tired. But I'm good. I'm good. I'm in a mood. Maybe I'm in a mood. I don't know. Oh, my oven. Not my oven, but my stove. I don't even want to talk about my stove. It's possessed. John Cena. Thank you, John Cena. My stove is possessed. And so today, so I could get all this shit done, right, and be here at 8:00, I at 2 something started making, hey, Mimi's mine. I started to make my spaghetti sauce. Oh, I love you. So I browned the beef. I cut up the onions and the peppers, and I put them in the pot, and and I put the pot on like I don't know if you have a one like mine, it's like 6 maybe. Hey Tally, I love you. Um, and just started going about my day, right? I mean, just keeping an eye on it. It was never boiling over, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyway, no steam was coming out, but I thought, well, it's on a slow roll. And then I had to go get my daughter from play stuff, whatever they're doing. And I come back, email about. I did. Crazy nurse, you have put too much information in this brain. It's not good. It was the damn thing it wasn't even warm. So we got to get a new oven. And actually, Mr. 681's the one that said, hey, darling Nikki, is the one that said it. So, hey, how are you? Maritza. So I just like, I don't know. If one thing goes wrong, it can fuck up your great day. Oh, I'm gonna do the macaroni and cheese. Hey, witchy lady, I'm gonna do the macaroni and cheese. And y'all, the macaroni and cheese is so easy. It's so easy. And you'll cook it the right. People will make you cook it the rest of your life. So, but it's really easy. Oh yeah, it's gonna go slow. It's just drama. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't always. Here's the funny thing. So when we have fucking up Friday or we have something like that, we all meet backstage. Obviously, she sends us a link. We meet backstage, and I haven't heard any of the gossip that we're getting ready to talk about. I haven't heard any of it because I purposefully don't go looking for it anymore. I just purposely don't go looking. So it's new to me when we start talking about it. It's all new to me. I don't know what the hell going on. So maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I don't know. I would just rather do stuff that I like, and that's all. You are not late at all, Boomer Baby, at all. I hope y'all had a great day. I really do. Tomorrow's my grandmother's 101st birthday. That's exciting. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Sage, we told her like she got a birthday at 90. She got one at 95. She obviously got one at 100. So we let her know that after 100, every single year after that was going to be a big like we had birthday parties for, but not like on the scale, like getting it catered and stuff at a restaurant. So we told her after 100, all of them are going to be huge, huge. And I'll get to watch her drink her. I don't know. Maybe she'll. Me and my grandmother love whiskey sours. Grunge truck. Yes, probably so, grunge truck. Probably so. I know, 101. And can I tell you a little secret? My grandmother was a lifelong hypochondriac. Lifelong hypochondriac. And I say it laughing because she was dying every other week. Every Christmas was going to be her last Christmas. Oh, it's going to be my last Christmas. And yeah, my great grandmother died at 99, her mother. So it was just, funny. I said she's the longest living hypochondriac on the earth. Hey, Julie. Hey, Susan, my love. I can't see it. And I've checked, Susan. It's not in my, like, you know how you can, all right, so you go to your your settings, right? And you see all the people you blocked. But then you can also go over and should go over to the Google side of it when you hit the Google side, because there's some there that you might have forgotten or might just got put there. I've had to do that, but you're not anywhere. I don't understand. It's so weird. Yeah, she's gonna lifelong. She's not a hypochondriac anymore. Really, a little bit, baby, a little bit, maybe a little bit. Dorothy, this is a good one, and this is the finale. And another thing that I worried about all day, I kept thinking, am I done? Did I do everything? Do I have everything covered? Because this is a stretch. The first talk about what she did, the things that she accomplished, and how successful she was. It's kind of that easy, but you had to know it. You had to know it before we got to this part. This part is the devil in the details part. And you know what? I might not even, will I forget something? Absolutely. But I'm going to try not to. I've got it all laid out here and looks like a crazy person. But because I would be upstairs. Hey, Karen. Oh, never mind. I just said hi to you. So yeah. Yeah, you got to go check this the YouTube studio and the Google block list, because things will get there. And there's this girl I adore, Daria, and she can't see me. I can't see her. I don't know if she's checked her Google side, but I have. I don't have her. I don't have her blocked. So my great grandmother calls me up. Sociopath. Well, I mean, that's a personality. Did you watch the last one, Tally Girl? The one that she died the next day or that night? That's. I really did like her a lot. I liked her a lot. I knew I would when I started reading this book and when I started reading the other articles. This book's not the only reference that I had. Man, she was just something. I'll tell you this, Earth. I was reading Spare today when I was picking up my daughter, and Harry's talking about his grandmother, and he's talking about, well, he talked about when he would get in trouble or something was coming out about him, he would get a call from somebody at the palace, and he'd have to come in. Now, when we were growing up, and still to this day, hey Colleen, still to this day, if we get a call from my grandmother, all right, if you get a call and it's not just how you doing, miss you, what's going on, come see me. If it's you need to come see me, and you'll say when, and she'll say as fast as you can, then you know you've done something. And we always knew we done something. When we got that call from grandma, you need to come here now. No pleasantries, no anything. And she would be sitting there and you knew not to lie because you knew she already knew the truth. So you don't lie. Not to grandma. No, no, no. So we all, as I have five, I have four boys. I'm the only girl. I'm the only granddaughter. So I would get the calls quite often. And you'd have to go tell the truth, pray for forgiveness, and hope that she would get over it. But anyway, all right, let's start. Let's do this. So when we left off, Dorothy, the Jack Ruby trial had Damon Rome, my love. The Jack Ruby trial had just ended. During this trial, Dorothy started writing her second book called Murder One. And it was 6 cases, 6 of her most interesting cases. So she's, and man, let's put this in perspective. She was covering the Jack Ruby trial, right? She was absolutely enthralled. She knew exactly everything. She learned defenses and all that. She kept all that straight. And then she would go to the hotel at night and start writing the book. Oh, yeah, go get you don't get the damn phone. Oh, yeah, that one too. That too. Thank you for sharing this. So she started writing the book. Then, 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox sent a group of reporters to Europe to cover movies, The Sound of Music, a couple more. And in this group, because they were big names and they were little names, Ron Pataki from Ohio. He was a theater and movie critic for a little Ohio paper, and he too was on this trip. I want to say it lasted about I'm going to say 3 or 4 weeks. And they all traveled together. The press traveled together to everything they want, 20th Century Fox wanted them to see. And Ron Pataki, who was 22 years her junior, but they began dating. She fell head over heels. Now, remember, she had already dated Johnny Ray, who was 14 years her senior. But this was the second major extramarital affair that she entered to. Hey, Squirrel Gang! I gotta tell you. So the 3 films were The Sound of Music, The Agony, and The Ecstasy. I've never seen that movie. And The Magnificent Man and Their Flying Machines. So they started out, I guess flirting around, but she fell in love with younger men rather quickly. And He would come to the Regency Hotel. Hey, Marie. He would come up to the Regency Hotel. Sorry, not a motel. The Regency Hotel, which is around the corner from her townhouse, right? And that's where they would meet. And otherwise, he talked on the phone, sent little gifts and all that. We'll get Ron Bataki in a little while. I don't like Ron Bataki. So this was a new person in her circle, in her close inner circle. The only new person that ever entered it. Okay. He was so she had told her friends, she had told Mark Sinclair, her hairdresser, hey, Helen, I'm sorry. She had told her hairdresser, who was probably her closest friend, that she was getting ready to blow this shit up, this Kennedy stuff. Thank you. She took her hairdresser and she went down to New Orleans. After they'd been there for about a day, not even a day, she called her Mark Sinclair, her best friend / hairdresser / makeup artist, and said, listen, you need to go right now. Leave New Orleans right now. Don't give everybody your name. Don't say you were with me. Just get back to New York as quick as you can. Don't ask any questions. And he didn't. She got him a plane. He left. Now, why she was down there? Why was she down there? Well, you remember that she got an exclusive interview with Jack Ruby. And what was said in that last interview that was behind closed doors, nobody will ever know. But I told you, it lit a fire under her ass. Now, down in New Orleans, there was a mob boss. Okay. And he was a pretty successful one, I got to tell you. His name was Carlos Marcello. He was born to Sicilian immigrants. They settled in, New Orleans, Jefferson Parish, just right outside. Hey, Hondo, my love. Jefferson Parish, right outside of Louisiana. And he became quickly in his youth a pretty successful career criminal at that young age. He started to, he was in prison. He got imprisoned a lot. Crime. He set up a gang, like a real actual gang of like teenagers. And he became pretty successful. Well, in 1947. So we got to go back on Carlos Marcello. He took control of Louisiana's illegal gambling. Pretty good job if you can get it, I reckon. And he partnered with the Genovese crime family and Meyer Lansky. Now, Meyer Lansky was up in New York, as was the Genovese, and they partnered with a lot of people. That's how it became organized crime. All right, I mean, so in 1959 he appeared in front of the United States McClellan Committee on Organized Crime. The chief counsel for that committee was Robert Kennedy. Where have we heard that name? Robert Kennedy. And actually, JFK was also a member of this committee. Yes, Jewish crime. But here's the thing, Julia, the Jewish crime family, but when these men were brilliant, okay? Brilliant. And they knew, we all have heard the stories. If you weren't working out, you go, bye, and just find you under a damn underpass somewhere. So, that Robert Kennedy hated organized crime. Hated it. And if you remember, I told you about Joe Kennedy, his father, who made deals with all of these men, Meyer Lansky, Sam Giancana, Mickey Cohen. I can keep going. It's all of them. He went to them and said, listen, y'all run the unions. You run from, tables and chairs to napkins to whatever. You vote for my son, we'll leave you alone. And that did not happen. Because Bobby Kennedy Well, and I have to wonder, did JFK or Robert Kennedy know that their daddy had made that deal? Because I don't know. I have to wonder. I don't think those two ever went against their father. So did they know and just say, I'm going to do what I want to do? I don't know. Well, we'll never know that. So, Camillo, he vowed he would get the Kennedys. He said, I will get them. I will get them. And he was deported to Guatemala. Now, back then, they would deport a lot of these mobsters to Cuba. And they did very well because they could run everything from Cuba. It's not that hard. And Cuba used to be a big, tourist thing. See, now you think that they didn't know, and Julie thinks that they did. Hey, Lakota, what are you doing, honey? This is what I find so interesting about doing these things. Two people have two different opinions. Their father was a real bastard. That's why I find this interesting is everybody's got an opinion, and opinions are never wrong. We don't know. We have no idea if they knew. I know Bobby Kennedy, after, and I told y'all this, when they killed JFK, he kept saying it was supposed to be me. It was supposed to be me. Like he had, put his neck out there. So, well, anyway, Carmelo, he got back into the country. He did. He's not. And he came right back to New Orleans too. He did. So, thank you, Hondo. So what we think is that Jack Ruby could have told Dorothy, listen, I worked for Camillo. I met Oswald through them. We were this and this and this and this was supposed to happen and it didn't. But whatever he told her, it got her right down there to New Orleans. And then she sent her best friend back up. Don't you dare tell anybody where you were. So the file that she had was getting bigger, and it was getting bigger, and it was getting bigger. She'd been at this thing for a while. Unfortunately, now I also told you that Jack Ruby wanted to testify in front of the Warren Commission. They said, we're not flying you up here, but 2 or 3 senators went down to Texas and got his statement, and Dorothy got a copy of his testimony before J. Edgar Hoover did, or the president, and she published it. But let me tell you who else she sent it to. She sent hey, Ziggles, I love you. She sent a copy. Y'all hear that cat? Trying to get in here. She sent a copy to Ron Pataki and said, what do you think? So Ron Pataki now has a copy of what Jack Ruby said. He also knows she is on the path. She's getting close. He knows it now because I believe he's the one. He's the one in her inner circle that betrayed her. I'm gonna kill this cat. I believe that he's the one, and so do a lot of other people. This is so Dorothy also started making trips to Switzerland, and she would take with her papers, books, diaries, tapes, jewelry, and she would lay them all out on the bed, and she'd put them in a suitcase, and she'd take them to Switzerland because she went about 3 or 4 times in the 3 or 4 months before she died. So somewhere into, I don't know if Richard her, I'm gonna kill that fucking cat. Hold on. Juju boy, go away. Go upstairs. Go upstairs. No, go upstairs. No, I'm not doing this. Go upstairs. I'll be up here in a minute. No, anyway, sorry. I don't even know where I was. All right, so anyway, she's taking stuff back and forth to Switzerland. She probably had a Swiss account. I don't know. Hey, Daphne, it might still be there. Who the hell knows? So all of a sudden, she was planning another trip. The cat, I'm sorry. She was planning another trip to New Orleans, one more trip. I don't know why. Nobody know. Well, some people probably know, but and she was also planning another trip to the UK, to London and stuff like that. So she was pretty busy. She was still pumping out her column every day. She was writing the book. Um, I think she was writing it until my daughter's coming to get her. She came and got him. That boy. All right, so let's get up to November 7th. Now if you remember, last week we showed November 7th. She was on her show, What's My Line, and she looked beautiful. She had a hairpiece sewn in, a flowery hairpiece sewn in up here. Mark Sinclair had done her makeup. Her book. Let me tell you something on it. Dorothy's book, Murder One, it came out after her death because they're not printing anymore. It's like $100 and some dollars. But anyway, that's another thing. So Mark and Sinclair did her hair, did her makeup because she was going to wear a certain dress. These dresses were hers. She wasn't going to get, she had dresses at the studio, but she had a whole, hey Kathy, she had a whole damn, huge closet. I haven't. I'm going to look that up though. So she does the show. Hey, Freeside. She gets out of the show. Her and, let me get it out. Because this is where the shit started happening. This is where stuff don't go right, don't mow, no mow. Just talk amongst yourselves. All right, so she leaves work in a limousine with Bob Bach, which is her buddy. They go to P.J. Clark's. It is a bar just down the street. Interestingly enough, the studio where they filmed What's My Line was on 54th Street. And it was later redone and called Studio 54. A little bit of history. So they go to PJ Clark's and they have some drinks, right? She loves she loves her tonic, her little vodka and tonic. So it's really unclear how many drinks that she had there. She was obviously not, they said she was fine. She wasn't rolling around, All right. After midnight, she leaves PJ Clark's and she tells Bob Bach, I've got a late date. And he said, oh, okay. Have fun. Thank you, Crystal, so much. So then she goes to the Regency Hotel for her late date. After she left, there's an hour, and let me share something. There's an hour after she leaves. I'm gonna show y'all right here. I hope. Am I showing you? I am. All right, let me make this bigger. So here is that right there is, it's not very big, is it? That is 54th Street. She goes down here to PJ Clark's. She makes it up here. Now, see, this is driving. And they were in a limousine, and I think she took his limousine to, there is the Regency Hotel. And in fact, I have some photographs of that. So let's look at the photographs as well. Let's look. Oh no, I've knocked y'all down. All right. Let me pull my photos up. Let me pull my photos up. Dr. Hold on. Let me find it. Oh, I might have just fucked up my mind. All right, anyway, I'm going to show you the inside of it because she loved the Regency Hotel. And also, if you remember, I told you that she would meet Ron Pataki at the Regency Hotel. It was just down the street from her house. It was on Park Avenue. So she was seen there with a mystery man. She came strolling in. The bartender said she wasn't drunk. The guy playing the piano said no, she was fine. And there was, let me find the goddamn photos. Get up there. She goes in. Here we go. All right. We got some good stuff in this little thing. All right, let's go. Here it is. Let me see. All right, can y'all see that? Let me see if y'all can see it on my phone. Here is, this is PJ Tang. It's not, I keep wanting to say PF Chang's. It's not PF Chang's. It's PJ Clark's. All right, hold on. Why is it not doing that? Stop sharing. Pull it up again. I hate this fucking thing. All right, hold on. I'll just go back to a minute. All right, so to go there, they see Dorothy in the back, right past the thing, right past the bar, and actually was a woman who has been on the show that night. If y'all watch the show, it was if y'all hey Angelina, if you watched the very last show, there was a woman there from Kentucky who sold dynamite. That woman was in the Regency Hotel because that's the hotel they put the guest and from What's My Line. And she saw her in the back in a booth talking to a mystery man. All right. Now, the bartender, and I would think that the bartender, this is where it gets kind of messy. I would think the bartender would know what Ron Pataki looked like because they met there, enough. I don't know, but he didn't. He appeared to not know. So then she goes home. She can walk home. It's a very short little thing to her townhouse. Nobody knows if the just a YouTuber. Nobody knows if the mystery man walked or nobody saw her leave. There were several entrances and exits to that bar. That's another thing she liked. So you could come in the front door, and let me find it because I went to all the trouble of looking up them damn pictures. All right, hold on. Y'all don't need to see that right now. That doesn't need to be seen right now. It's my damn pictures. All right, we're gonna get to P. All right, let me share. If I wasn't already sharing. All right. There we go. This is the PF Clark's. So let's go. Very nice. Open. There it is. It's still there. It's still there. You see, it's kind of intimate. All right. Now we're at the Regency, which is now called the Lowe's Regency. If you see right here, you got the bar and grill and you got the front. This is the little sitting room. Again, I don't think the bar has changed a whole lot in this. In fact, I looked for any renovations. There have not been, there's been, redecorating. So here's where everybody would be. Oh, and there's the little booze in the back. Oh, why do I have oh, that's her son. Hold on. Oh, never mind. Like those other stuff. I don't know why I have pictures up. Is that the same Pataki that was in the pod? No, he actually he stayed in like the newspaper business. And get this, he came to Liberty University. I live here, right, in Lynchburg, Virginia, where Liberty University is. He came to Liberty University and got a master's degree in Christian counseling. He was in my city, but I'm sure I probably, yeah. But, so Dorothy gets home. Dorothy has a habit. Dorothy does not sleep. Dorothy sleeps in the room upstairs, her office called the Cloop. The Cloop. I don't know. The Cloop. She worked there. She slept there. Nobody was allowed in there. Nobody was allowed. Not one of her children, not anybody. All right. That's where she did all of her writing. So she called the messenger service, the message, and said, hey, this is Dorothy. Can you come around and pick up an article? You know where? There was like a little box. I know, right? There was a little box on the side of her house. 2:30. The guy that is that his name Spiegel. She wasn't drunk. She wasn't slurring. She just was normal. Hi, how's your evening? You've been through here. And it was there when they got there. I told her she only slept in the Cloop. She did not sleep in any of the many bedrooms that her townhouse had. So the next day, Mark had to go to her place at 9 a.m. And because she had to have her hair and makeup done because she had to do something for her little young son's school. So Mark's got a key. There is a master bedroom in her closet, which is attached to a master bedroom on the 3rd floor. She hated that bedroom. She never slept in that bedroom. She hated that damn bed. She caught her husband with another man in that bed. Her husband almost burnt the house down because he was drunk and smoking in that bed. She hated it. But that's where her master closet was and her master bathroom. And Mark always met her in the master bathroom on the 3rd floor. No, Dorothy. She waits. No, I'm sorry. He went in. He went through. He looks over. And there's Dorothy laying on the bed with an outfit on that didn't make any sense. She always wore pajamas and socks. When he did her hair and stuff, she would always be waiting. She didn't make him wait because nobody could get up to her office. If she was still asleep, she won't coming out. So she's in the bed, barely in the bed, right? In this dumb outfit. Her hairpiece is still in that he had put in the night before. Her makeup was still on her face, false eyelashes, and the makeup went all the way down to her chest because if you'll remember, that dress was kind of plunging. She was dead. And this was 9 o'clock in the morning. And he looked over. There was a copy. All right, so she's laying in this bed that she will never sleep in. She had a book. All right, so say I'm laying in the bed, right? And I'm reading this book. So it's going to face me, right? If I put it down, it's going to face me. It's going to, she had a book that she had just finished reading, right? There was no reason. She had it in her bed, faced out. Her reading glasses were nowhere to be found, and she could not read without them. So there were 2 glasses on her nightstand. Well, no, you'll find out in a minute. So he calls the butler, right? Come help me. And then he just leaves. Mark just leaves. They've killed her. I knew they would. I'm probably next. I'm getting the fuck out of here. He passes. There's a tutor that lives in their house. Ibn Hassan. He's a family friend. He's also a tutor for little Carrie, and he lives there. He passes. He's getting ready to go to his classes at Columbia. He passes Mark, and all of a sudden, all the servants are going crazy in the lobby because her townhouse had a lobby in it. She had a butler, and all of a sudden, everybody started running right up and down steps. Maids, oh shit, oh god, and Ivan looked at Mark and said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "She's dead." And so Ivan just left. I don't know why he left and went to school, but he did. He just said, "Oh, okay, well, that's not a problem." So Mark was left with she wouldn't have fallen asleep with the headpiece on, never in a million years. She would have never left her makeup on, never in a million years. Never would have worn what she was wearing. And the blankets were kind of down, and she didn't have, like he said, she didn't have any underwear on. She don't like it. This is just nothing she would wear. So that's his version of the story. That's his version. Let me go find the official version of the story. Let's find it. Let's find it. So now we have the maid found her at 12 o'clock, which wasn't unusual for her to sleep in. So, but the maid finds her on the third floor bedroom, and they call the police. The police, or call whoever. So the medical examiner shows up. Two detectives show up. That is it. Joan Crawford is in her damn living room. Joan Crawford is over at DorothyKilgallen's kind of consoling Richard, who is so drunk he can't even speak. So they asked him a question. He said, the last time I saw her was last night. She came home right before 12, and then at 12 she told me goodnight and went up to her bedroom. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. There's too many people that saw her. She didn't leave PJ Clark's until after 12. So, yeah, Crawford did it. So they took her body finally. They were there about 15 minutes, if that. No, the police didn't ask nobody nothing. Nobody. And they took her to the morgue. Well, Dr. James Luke was the coroner for the Manhattan Bureau. Excuse me. And oddly enough, the police said there was absolutely nothing out of sorts. And let me tell you this, when the maid found her, totally different outfit than what Mark found her in. There was only one glass on the thing by the time the maid found her. The blankets were pulled all the way up, not halfway down, all the way up to under her chin. Whole nother set of circumstances here. So Dr. James Luke took the body. He did an autopsy. I know. I'm going to change it. Now, why Dr. Luke did an autopsy is kind of a mystery to everyone, because the police suspected nothing. They thought it was she was 50-some years old. She just had a heart attack. Nobody was there saying, "No, guys, listen, she doesn't sleep in that room. She would never be in that bed. She doesn't do that. She'd have taken her hairpiece out. She'd have taken her makeup off, her false lashes." But nobody told the police that. So they said probably natural causes. There would have been no need for an autopsy. But Dr. James Luke decided he was going to do an autopsy. Okay, not a problem. So he did an autopsy on her. I don't know how thorough it was, but good things came from it. And I'll just say, I know it sounds horrible, but so if I were to pull up the autopsy for you right now, the report, one, it's Dr. Luke has scribbled a lot of shit on it that you cannot understand, right? He calls her obese. He said that she was obese. She was nowhere near obese. Why are you calling her obese? So that's another weirdo thing. So what he does is he takes, her stomach, and he says, well, she died from a moderate overdose of alcohol and Seconal, which she was prescribed. The doctors even said that she was prescribed, 3 to 4 a day of Seconal, 100 milligram tablets. No, she didn't. I mean, there was no Seconal there. If that were true, when she took 3 to 4, 100 milligrams a day, she would have run out of Seconal way past then. Thank you, infidel lady. So I think she had just gotten it filled or something. It was there and it was full. There was nothing gone from it. And to die from a moderate amount, exactly, a moderate amount. But there was another doctor at the time who was the head of toxicology. And what he liked to do, he would take samples, right, of body fluids or whatever. And he would just keep them in a jar. So it wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't anything like that, a moderate. And actually, Dr. Luke ran Seconal was in her, but there was also more than one. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. We don't find that out till 2 years later. So a moderate, I just can't, I've never, a moderate amount. But when 2 years later, Dr. Umberger, who was the head of toxicology, right? And the glass, they still had the glass. They still had the glass that was taken off of her nightstand. It had dried alcohol in it. Have y'all ever heard of Dr. Bodden? He was, and I don't know if he's retired now, but he was a witness in a lot of murder cases involving mostly celebrities. He would go over the autopsy. Well, at this point, Dr. Bodden was working in the toxicology department, right? He was a doctor. So 2 years later, for whatever reason I don't understand, Dr. Umberger said, listen, I'm going to go look at that glass and I'm going to just see what's in it. Yeah, he was. He still is good, I reckon. So remember, this is on the bedside. It had evaporated alcohol. Well, they ran a tox on that, on the glass, right? And the glass, all of a sudden, weirdly enough, you have secobarbital, which is Seconal. You have sodium, all right? Seconal, barbital, sodium, all right? Pentobarbital, sodium, which is called, what was it called? Nimbuta, and a combo of Seconal and Tuinol. Oh, all right. Please don't beat me. I have to do it with my phone. So they found 3 different barbitals in her body, in that glass, right? So Umberger said, hey, something ain't right. This ain't right. So he had taken a sample from Dorothy's body. Very crazy nurse. They were saying that so the Seconal and alcohol was dangerous, but she was used to it. She didn't, I'm sorry. Happy. I hope you're I can only reach you from my phone. Tuinol is but Tuinol is dangerous. All right. You mix it with alcohol and it is very dangerous. And you throw Seconal on top of that, you got a problem. Then you thought that the pentobarbital was in there too. So this woman who only had a prescription for Seconal now all of a sudden has 3 barbiturates in her system and a moderate amount of alcohol. So where'd they come from? Where'd the other 2 come from? So they checked her body fluids and they checked her stuff and they ran it. And Dr. Biden said that the amount of seconol that was in her system was equivalent to, and let me find it. I'm sorry, I should have done this, but it was like equivalent to 25 to 30 100 milligram tablets. 25 to 30, I know that's what it was. But her stomach only contained pinkish, what is it, 50 cc's of pinkish fluid, which now they think was probably Pepto-Bismol, because it would have made her sick. So this is crazy, y'all. Now, Annabella, so we go from where does she get this? We'll worry about what's in her system in a minute. Where did she get it? Did the mystery man, possibly Pataki, slip it into her drink when it was frothy, I think is what they said when they took it out. So did the mystery man drug her? Because they said it would have taken about 20 or 30 minutes for it to set in. So she'd have to walk home. She'd have to call the messenger service and soberly say, "Hey, how was your night? You want to come by and pick it up? Pick it up. It's out there. Okay, thank you. Have a nice night." Boom. Did the person follow her home? Because that was done. She did that sometimes. Richard was up on whatever floor drunk, passed out. She would not have entertained them, I don't think, in that bedroom. But I don't know. So did somebody? We don't know where it came from. We don't know. Was Ron Pataki paid? Was Ron Pataki the one when they said he told him, listen, she said death threats. She had death threats too, by the way. She had also rewritten her will because she did not trust Richard to take care of Carrie, the 9-year-old boy. So she supposedly rewrote it. They hadn't signed it yet. So there's so many things. She was going, so did he say, listen, it's the lungs filling with fluid? Well, they said it was pink, and then I think they thought maybe it was, because I don't think it existed anymore. Dr. Luke didn't save it, but it was just written down in the findings. And so I think they just took a stab at it. It could have been, Pepto-Bismol, could have been anything. Dr. Luke didn't think to save it. So did Pataki tell him, listen, she's going back down to New Orleans. She's close. She's getting ready to blow this off. Because that's what she told her in a circle. I'm close. I'm getting ready to blow this up. This is going to be the biggest story ever. And did they say, all right, well, you get up there from Ohio, which I don't know how far that is, and you do what you got to do? I mean, I don't know. Well, it's Dr. Luke. So it was in her stomach, not on her. It was in her stomach. It was in her stomach, not like on her mouth or anything. So somehow somebody got 2 more dangerous, drugs in her system that night, and that's why the moderate amount. He also, what was it? Her death certificate does not say. That's the way, no underwear is the way Mark found her, which says she would never. When they found her, she was in a whole nother outfit, like a peignoir, a peignoir set, a nightgown and a robe. But when Mark saw her, she was in some kind of bolero jacket, no underwear, like somebody had just tossed her up there and said, let's get the hell out of here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. So there's a lot. Now, what happened to all that information? They sat on it. Dr. Umber, Dr. Biden, and then there was another doctor. They sat on it because Dr. Umber said, we just need to sit on it. We can't. I mean, her friends somebody should have said, wait a minute. I don't understand Mark Sinclair. Just back away. You don't tell them what you found at 9 o'clock and dispute the 12 o'clock. And why is Richard saying, oh, yeah, she came home and at 12 o'clock she said goodnight and went up to her room? That did not happen at all. Yeah, everything was elegant. Let me turn this down. So how many times was Dorothy Kilgallen failed? I don't even know. When the maid found her, she was like very relaxed, very not relaxed, but looked very comfortable. All the blankets pulled up, the book turned the wrong way, no glasses. Mark saw 2 glasses. There was only 1 glass. Hey, Blondie. So we have 2 times of death because one doctor said, oh, it happened around 1:40. No, it didn't happen at 1:40. It got pushed back between 2 and 4 a.m. Her time of death was between 2 and 4 a.m. Well, we know it wasn't 2. We know it wasn't 2:30. Something happened after 2:30. Something happened after 2:30. After she put that article in that box on the outside of her house for the messenger to pick up, something happened. And it happened down in that bedroom. Now I'm going to pull up for you the layout of her okay. Now, I know this is hard to see, and I'm sorry. So we have the cellar, right? We have the first floor. Now, mind you, in a minute, I'm going to tell you something that you're going to go, So you have the cellar. Here's the fourth floor with the lobby, very nice. Then we have the library. Here's the third floor. Here's the third effing floor. The master bedroom right here where I'm pointing. There's the master bath. All of this was closet, all around. Then we have the fourth floor. That's where Richard, Carrie, and Ivan Hassan slept. Here is the coop. Up here, 5th floor. This was hers, basically. This was hers. There's a picture of it, of the townhouse. There's the front. That's where Ivan Hussein noticed everybody running up and down the steps and were like, what's going on? All right, so this is another version of this same building. It got renovated. So I cannot tell you if this was the original or the one I just showed you. I think this one is the original before it was remodeled. And it's still the same layout. Here's the 3rd floor. The bedroom, except for the bedroom would have been up here. So I don't really know. And there's the clock. I'm just seeing what else I have here. Oh, there's me. Oh, Lord. Anyway, sorry. So, oddly enough, guess what disappeared that night as well? Guess what disappeared that night? The file on JFK, Oswald, Carmela, and Ruby. Everything that she had found out disappeared. It was gone. She kept it up in her office. Who the hell had it? Nobody had the key to her office. Nobody had the key to her office. Who took it? Richard, years later, claimed that he took it and burned it. Hey, Donald. Thank you, Donald. He took it and burned it. I don't think that happened. I don't think he would had the wherewithal to do that. But it disappeared that night, never to be seen again. People have even called her children. Now, I told y'all that the children, even Carrie, I'm not even gonna lie, the 2 older children want nothing to do with anything about their mother. They were asked about, as they grew up. They were 2 oldest ones already grown up. They would be asked about the file. They ever see the file? They don't talk about it. They don't talk about the file no more. So here we are. with this woman dead. Hey, warrior grandma. Nobody said, hold on a damn minute. I guess Mark Sinclair was scared. I think he said he was scared. Oh, I haven't done the goddamn thing. Who am I supposed to? Hold on, who am I supposed to mod? So it's settled. It's done. Nobody cares. She drifted off into. Well, let me tell you about Marilyn Monroe and her. Where's my thing? She put a blind item in one of her columns, right? A blind item in one of her columns. This was August. This was August 3rd, 1962. Marilyn had just, divorced Arthur Miller. She was dating DiMaggio. Well, I'm not going to say dating DiMaggio again, but she was feeling her oats. We all know that she had an affair with JFK and she had an affair with Bobby. So, but this is a blind item that Dorothy put into an article that, mind you, went all over the country. And I won't read the whole thing to you, but apparently people were concerned about her because, remember she kept getting sick doing the last movie. She kept getting real sick and she couldn't finish it. So people were concerned about her health. But she said she said there was a photo of Marilyn that was not as bare as the famous calendar, but very interesting. She said that she was cooking in sex appeal, in the sex appeal department. Two, she proved vastly alluring to a handsome gentleman who is bigger in name than Joe DiMaggio in his heyday. So don't write off Marilyn as finished. Yeah. So Dorothy has just busted out that she is seeing somebody more famous than Joe DiMaggio in his heyday. Joe DiMaggio in his heyday was famous all over the world. 3 days later, Marilyn was dead. After this blind item, Marilyn Monroe was found dead. Very much like Dorothy died. Alcohol, barbiturates, no residue of taking the barbiturates, no capsules, no anything. What happened to Dorothy in the weeks following the Kennedy what? I'm sorry. The Kennedy what? If you're talking about the assassination, because she was absolutely convinced that it wasn't, and she was right, obviously. But is it obviously? I don't know. I think Carlo that Carlo Marcello, he killed her. He had her killed, and I think he had Pataki doing it. I think that's the only idiot they had, or at least helping him. So, and what was interesting was, right, that all of a sudden, hey, Mama the Gladiator, thank you for stopping by. Thank you. What was I playing? I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Like I said, Mark Sinclair didn't say anything. The maid and the butler at 9:00 a.m. knew Dorothy was dead. Ibn Hassan said it. Hey, Ann. They knew. They were running up and down saying she's dead. She's dead. She's dead. He was like, I don't get that. I don't get that part. Why did you just go, okay, see you later. She's dead. All right, we'll see you when I get home from school. That doesn't make any sense to me. The new will that would alter Richard's estate if Dorothy died before she signed it. That's, and Richard lying about her being there at 12 o'clock. Why did he do that? There's a lot of whys that just didn't get she being the investigative journalist she was. I'm so embarrassed for her friends. and her colleagues that they didn't say to themselves. Even Dr. Umberger and all that, they were like, they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. Keep it under your hat is exactly what Umberger told Baden and the other doctor. I can't remember who they are. Let me make sure I've said everything, and then we're going to get to what happened after. How did these people... We've covered that. Death scene, we've covered that. Hold on, making sure. We covered that. We covered the thing. We colored. We did it. Hold on, I can't believe I didn't. I mean, I did have to do this a little bit, but I'm making sure because I'll go upstairs when this is over and go, damn it. I forgot. Oh, this was odd. Mark came around, right? Mark came, so the door, okay, so he walked into the bathroom, which adjoined the bedroom on the third floor that she never slept in. And it was locked for whatever reason. He goes to unlock it, and there was a piece of paper on the floor that looked like it had been pushed under the door. That's the last time he ever mentions it. He doesn't mention if he picked it up, what it said, if it was just nothing, if it was some... He never said. That's another thing that I kept waiting. Every time I turned the page, I go, oh, we're going to get to the bottom of this. On this page. No, we didn't. We didn't. And at the townhouse, I'm making sure I have everything. So anyway, right now, her death is still not... there's no cause. It was something deferred. She still has no cause of death, which I think in this is odd, but what are you gonna do? All right, I think I got it. Hold on, making sure. I don't want y'all leaving here without look. You see, this is what I can't wait to get rid of. All these little notes. I'm like a weirdo. Okay. Oh, I forgot about this, guys and girls. So there was a doctor named Dr. D'Ameo. And he worked in, not Manhattan, he worked in another bureau. Now, oddly enough, this is the odd part too. Dr. D'Ameo signed Dorothy's birth certificate. Dr. D'Ameo signed Dorothy's death certificate. And under his signature, it read, for Dr. James Luke. So when asked about this, Dr. D'Ameo had no idea why his name would be on there because he did not perform the autopsy. He didn't even work in that bureau. He would not have been in Manhattan. All right. I think he was in Brooklyn. So the man who signed the death certificate didn't do the autopsy, never was in the room when it was done. And has no idea why it's there. No idea. I don't know. No idea why it's there. What did I write here? In 1965, Dr. D'Ameo worked in Brooklyn. He didn't work in Manhattan. So he has signed the death certificate for the doctor who performed the autopsy, which was not him. That's another little, and he doesn't ask, I don't know why it's there. Okay, thank you. No problem. So let's, I have a little thing of what happened later, because I like to know what happened later. Oddly enough, Ron Bataki died this year in Cleveland, Ohio. He lived a pretty good long life. But he would, when asked by several authors, denied having a sexual relationship with Dorothy, denied having a romantic, said he did not speak to her. Oh, but wait a minute, he did speak to her when he talked to another author. He did speak to her that night. Can't remember what time. He played down his whole. When asked where he was, where were you the night that Dorothy's last night alive? I was in Ohio. I mean, my coworker saw me come in to work that day. Well, he probably could have made it from New York to Cleveland, Ohio. I don't know. But nobody ever asked that coworker or any other coworkers if he was there. Nobody. Nobody. The cops didn't ask anybody anything. And in a minute, I'm going to go through and I'm going to list everything that the police didn't do in this. All right, so here's what happened to Richard Comer. Just like Dorothy predicted, Richard did not do right by his children, and definitely not right by Carrie. He took every single everything was left to him. Everything was left to him. The only thing the children got was her basically profit sharing from What's My Line. And it was $85,000 and they split it 3 ways. That's the only thing those kids got. He got the townhouse, which he sold for like $290,000, which in today's would be $2.1 million. He had every single little policy he had, he took. He took it all for him. Now, what he did do was marry Anne Fogarty. Now, Anne Fogarty was a designer, dressed as clothes. He married her in 1967. She was much younger than him. And in 1968, Comer, Carey, and Fogarty, they lived in a penthouse in Manhattan on the East Side. In spring of 1968, the couple bought the very same townhouse that Dorothy died in. Richard went and bought it back. And that's when they started doing some renovations. So I don't know which one of those floor plans I showed you was before or after. But this sick fuck, sorry, went and with his new wife bought the townhouse that his first wife had bought with her money, not his. And he bought it back with his second wife's money, not his, because he fucking blew through it. He was a drunk. He also kicked Carrie out when Carrie was 16. Carrie, who was the beloved son of Dorothy, and we all know he didn't belong to Richard. He belonged to Johnny Ray. Johnny Ray never, ever, ever. It's a 7-hour drive. Well, there you go, Carrie. He could have done it. He kicked Carrie out. Johnny Ray never claimed him as a son. The poor kid had to go to friends and foster care. His mother was one of the most famous women in the world, probably one of the most brilliant women in the world. And he was living in foster care because his drunk fucking dad, his drunk caretaker, just didn't want him around anymore. But don't despair. Don't despair, guys. Now, if you go and look at Anne Fogarty's designs, they're pretty cool. I have a bunch of photos of them, but I mean, this is something y'all can do on your own. She was very talented. They were good. I think they were billed as like being affordable to every day, but they were absolutely beautiful. So yeah, he kicked him out of the house. At age 60, on January 7th, 1971, Mr. Comer died in his sleep, in his bed, of a drug overdose. I think the drug, if I'm not mistaken, was Tuinol, which was found in Dorothy's system. I don't know how it got there, and I don't give a shit. I'm just glad he's dead. Some people say that he committed suicide. Some people say it was just a drug overdose. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. You died the way your wife died in that fucking house. You might have had something to do with it. You might not have. I don't know. So in 1971, Anne gave an interview with a syndicated columnist. She stated that Comer took a bad fall right before New Year's Day, and he had blood clots and whatever. Oh, that's so sorry, so horrible to hear. All right. And then they actually said this was funny too. They said that he didn't die then. He died like a month a month later. But every major paper had Comer's obituary that ran between the January 9th and January 10th. So, I mean, they can't even get this shit back then. They couldn't get it straight. Johnny Ray's career. Johnny Ray, like I said, all the way through the 50s, he was pretty popular, and he was backed by Dorothy completely. They had a 12-year, 14-year relationship. They were in love. They had a child together. It turned into a really deep friendship once she, met Pataki. It had turned. Johnny Ray was a homosexual. Well, I guess he's bisexual, but the end of his life, Dorothy was really he married one woman, right? When right at the beginning of his and Dorothy's little affair, and she quickly got out. And that's the only other woman that anybody has ever seen with Johnny Ray. So, but he became also an alcoholic. He opened up for Judy Garland in a European tour. That's kind of exciting. That's before she died. She died on that tour. And it says Johnny was so devastated when Dorothy died, he never got over the loss. He was a longtime alcoholic. In 1960, he was hospitalized with tuberculosis, and he quit drinking in 1969. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. So he did not have another drink. The doctor told him a couple of years later, you can have the occasional glass of wine. So Johnny Ray started drinking heavily again. And I think, when did he die? February 24th, 1990, he died of hepatic, I don't know, being a drunk, liver failure. I know it's got a name. And I know Crazy Nurse is like, duh! Say it this way. Jack Ruby, actually, Melvin Bella, when DorothyKilgallen died, he was quoted as saying, well, they're going to go after Ruby next. So he was diagnosed with cancer and admitted to the hospital and with pneumonia. And literally, it only took days. He died within days. And somebody even asked, can they inject you with cancer? I mean, somebody actually asked that question back then, because all these people started dying. Dorothy, well, I guess Kennedy being the first, but Dorothy being, one. Then you had, Richard. I ain't going to count him. He's such a pig. But, Ruby and the people that were left, they just started dying. And if you notice, obviously, we've never heard, we have thoughts, we have opinions. We have opinions on what happened, but we'll never know. And a lot of it's because a lot of the people that were around, I have a piece of paper that everything, the cops, there were 2 detectives that were there. They did not interview anybody. They didn't interview anybody from What's My Line. They didn't interview anybody from PJ Clark's. They didn't interview anybody from the Regency. And the only reason that there are reports about what people said is because people just talked about it wherever. When that one woman, Catherine Stone was her name, the one that sold, oh my God, the one that sold the dynamite in Kentucky, her name was Catherine Stone, and she'd seen Dorothy not wobbling around, not drunk. So if one person would have asked another person just one question, maybe this could have been solved. I don't know. You would think, too, that at this level that they would come up with better ways to kill women than alcohol and drugs. Maybe they have. I don't know. Maybe they have. Hey, Hannah, I'm sorry. Thank you. I do my research, let me tell you. So, yeah, apparently in the 60s, that's the way, we have a problem with a woman, all right, alcohol, second doll, not a problem. So, that is the conclusion of my 2-part series, DorothyKilgallen, accident, suicide, or murder. Now, could it have been an accident and we're all just overreacting? Could it have been just a legitimate accident? It's kind of hard to get 3 different barbiturates in your glass. and have it nowhere else in the room, nowhere in the house, nowhere. It's nowhere. Was it suicide? No, I can't see. She was onto something. She loved to break a story, and she was getting ready to break the biggest one of her life. She was worried about her son. She didn't want. In fact, people have said that Richard probably what he did burn was probably that. Sorry, what Richard probably did burn was that copy of the will, not the files. Um, so no, she had too much to live for. She loved her, children very much. I don't think she would have done it. She wouldn't have done it where Carrie could have walked by. Carrie was, there was a lot of age difference between his older brother and sister. So he was raised an only child. I think his brother and sister both had children of their own by the time he was around 11. I don't know why one of them couldn't take him. I don't know if they were close. The two older ones were close with Carrie. I don't know why they would let Carrie go to foster homes if they had children of their own. I think the only thing that makes sense is that somebody killed her. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. And we have names. There was actually after Kennedy died, there was actually a dinner that a lot of these mob bosses went to, and one of their wives didn't testify, but told the story of them having their champagne glasses up in the air and toasting the murder of assassination. And one of the gangsters said, "We got the head of the dog." And then he went on to say, "You can cut off the tail." He said Robert Kennedy was the tail of the dog. JFK was the head. You can cut off a dog's tail and it'll live, but you cut off its head and it's going to die. So they were actually, toasting that and saying that he was the head of the dog, and that's why he got assassinated. I don't know what an ex-wife 50 years later would have to lie about, or maybe, whatever. So that is my presentation. And does anybody think it could possibly be an accident? No, but no wrong answers. No wrong answers. Could have been an accident. It absolutely could have. I just find it hard to believe that she would find 3 different strong especially with the Tuinal. They said the Tuinal and alcohol, if you mix that, it was, so potentially fatal, that one drug. And she was not prescribed that drug. Again, not in her system. Her stomach only contained the pink fluid. That's all that was in her stomach. There was no pills. You remember with Marilyn Monroe, she had all those drugs in her body, but there were no capsules in her stomach. None of the capsules. She would have had to have swallowed them. They weren't in her stomach. Again, they weren't in Dorothy's either. So somebody slipped her something somewhere, and she's gone, and she's forgotten. And that's what's so sad about it, is she's forgotten, because she was quite an amazing woman. And like I said, when we did this last Saturday, she would not open a door for him, and she kicked the whole door off the hinge. I mean, she kicked the thing out the frame. Were it not for her. And, sometimes people say, yeah, it hadn't been for her, but it had been somebody. Well, it wasn't somebody else. It was Dorothy Kilgallen. And she was a multimedia icon. Television, radio, paper, book, investigate. You know what I'm saying? It was just, she was one of the first women that actually did commercials for planes. Like, regular, they loved her, that she was in advertising. People wanted her, to advertise for them. She was huge. She got a $10,000 advance for her book, Murder One. And again, Richard, hey, Suzanne, she didn't change clothes and cover herself. Exactly, Suzanne. Exactly. And I do not think there's any reason for. I have to look to see if Mark Sinclair is even still alive. And when I finish this, it'll be tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to put every single thing that I used. The book. There's a really great Midwest Today did a story, 2000 and something, on who killed Dorothy Kilgallen. It was really good. There are different websites that are devoted to her that have pictures and so one of those, and I want to say it's Mark Shaw's, but it might, because there's another book called Kilgallen that a woman did, and Mark Shaw um heavily depends on that book. Um, the woman who did that book, they're videotaped. So there's Mark Sinclair videotape talking about Dorothy, talking about what he saw, talking about how he knew there was no way she'd be in that bedroom, not in a million years, ever. No, no, no. And that everybody in that house should have known it. But my question is, why the hell didn't you say something, Mark? But I'd have been scared too, because he knew a lot. He knew a lot. And he didn't say anything, and I don't guess I would have either. But so did Pataki. He lived. He lived till this year. I mean, I don't know. I'm so tired. Oh, they're not going to do an answer back. They're not going to do anything. All right, guys, that's the presentation. I've finished it. Part of my New Year's resolution is I'm going to learn to edit, and I'm going to learn graphics. So that I did, make that little thing, the little map of where she went. And I thought, I'm so cool. Blow people out of the water with this. I don't know that channel now. I don't know. Please let them know that you're the one. That's allowed. Yeah, no one can call Earth Earth. Earth. That's only me. She'll get very angry. Very angry. Thank you for saying that. Thank you, Crazy Nurse. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. I really did enjoy. Like I said, I always do too much research. But I really like to do it, so it's almost therapeutic. Monchichi is not here, and I don't know where he is, but I'm sending him this book Monday morning. Now, Julie, I thought my next thing would be I'm going to go back to old Hollywood and a mysterious death in old Hollywood. I've done the Black Dahlia. I have done Superman. I have done Thelma Todd, which I might do again. There's so many. There was a director and a producer named William Desmond Taylor, and he was murdered by, we don't know, but this was in the 1920s, and no one has figured out who murdered him yet. But the potential was a little starlet, a starlet that was in love with him, her mother, who was in love with him as well, and trying to keep him away from the little starlet. And shit. I know that. Brenda Lola. Fuck. Mary Miles' mentor. She was with him just before he was murdered in his little townhouse. I mean, don't live in a townhouse. And she was also, all these people's careers went bloop as soon as they were named as suspects, because both the I can't remember her name, and the other one, they were at his house that night. So I love the old ones too. Crazy. I mean, Bob Crane is one I could do. I've gotten a request for him a lot, and so yeah, we need to look at that. But I ain't showing no pictures because that's gross. But yeah, Bob Crane. If you have a suggestion on somebody that, a mystery that you would like to be covered, put it in the comments, because I'll take every single suggestion I get. I like to do the old ones because there's so many people covering the new ones. There's so many people covering like every day. Oh, new information. No, you do not have any new information. Stop saying that. You do not have new information. So I like to do the older ones where there's not anybody out here still caring or giving a shit, I don't know. So we got Bob Crane on the list. I've got my old Hollywood list somewhere. I'll find it. Um, but I appreciate y'all coming. I appreciate the little super chats. I do. I appreciate them so much. You don't even know. I appreciate your time. We've been here an hour and a half exactly. Hey, Donna. I appreciate you. Would you like? We could do murder mystery movies. There's so much. Oh, I love Death on the Nile. I just watched Death on the Nile with but it's the English on BritBox. And that never gets tiring. Lana Turner stabbing what's his face? What's his face? When her daughter really did it. I'm telling you, there's some great old ones. So there's no, let me tell you, there's never a shortage of old Hollywood mysteries. But I like to I ventured out of my old Hollywood stuff, and got into the Fort Worth 3 and that, and then I went straight to Dorothy. And not that I'm saying that it's so heavy, but it's so heavy. The It's so heavy. And then I get so involved. And then I have to like I said, I do my research. I'll never if people say thank you for doing research, you're very welcome. I do a lot of it. So I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the night. And I hope you will have a wonderful day tomorrow. I moved book club to Monday. I think I'm going to move it to 6:00 because I realized that 5:00 on a Monday, people are cooking dinner, getting home. So I'll move it to 6 or 7, and we'll discuss Spare, the Prince Harry's book, and then we'll pick out another mystery. So I love you all. I love you all. I really do. Thank you, and have a safe, warm night. And I'll see y'all Monday. All right. Thank you again. Love you.